Hello there, welcome to the Generational Gamer. You know, after I did the video on this thing, somebody asked me to do a video on all my scalers. Given that I only have 3, pretty easy work, huh? These two, the RetroTink Pro and the RetroScaler 2X, are essentially the same thing. There's a reason for that. The OSSC, which is the newest version, is open source, and it's a little bit different. Let's start with the RetroTink 2X. Now, I bought this one first, and I really don't use it a whole lot anymore. For a while, I had it permanently attached to my PS2 because it is great for a PS2. They all are, to be quite frank. The problem with it is you cannot go beyond 480i as an input. So if you try to put a 480p game in, it just doesn't work. It doesn't even work as a pass-through. Mike Chi invented another one that does that on this lower end scale, but otherwise you need his RetroTink 5X or the newest one, which I wasn't about to spend that kind of money on it. You may notice that it has cables connected to it already. Those are HD Retrovision cables. You can look at them here. They are for the Sega Genesis or Saturn with an adapter, or in my case, I used it on the Sega 32X because you cannot use the cheaper cables with it, otherwise the colors are all blown out. Next up, let's look at the RetroScaler 2. Well, I already did a quick video on it already, and you can see that here. But this thing is virtually a RetroTink 2X, like the original one, and there's good reason for it. There are plenty of people who still remember the fallout from when it appeared that companies were ripping off Mike Chi's design. Now, I've never opened this thing up. I have no idea what's in it. I don't really care at this point. I am not your HDMI police, and if you want to use something that's $30 over $50 or $100, that's your business. In any case, the thing works fine for me, and I have had no issues with it. It's basic, it's cheap, and it actually has an on-off switch, unlike the early RetroTinks, which you either applied power to or you didn't. When you applied power, it was on. When you didn't apply power, it was off. So let's move along to the OSSC. The OSSC is a far more powerful scaler than that of the RetroTink Pro or the RetroScaler 2X. It has far more features, including a remote control. Now, the remote control can be quite unnerving if you don't know what you're doing. I've only used it with component, so that would be the green. Basically, you select the input, and at that point, it will bring up your game. You don't have to do any real settings, but it does pay to do so. I largely use it in its stock form, and it's basically just connected to my PS2 now. And the reason being is because for 480i games, I can scale to 480p or higher, and for 480p games, I can either scale it to something higher, or I can just leave it at 480p and let the M Classic work. The choices are virtually limitless with this thing, and that's the reason why it's a better option if you want to tinker. If you don't want to screw with anything, I'd stick with the cheaper ones. On AliExpress, you can usually get the OSSC for about 90 bucks. So keep an eye out. This one here is the Kaico version. I have had other models of it, but it works just fine, and you get a good picture out of it. Be mindful that you cannot input anything lower than component or SCART. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.